Welcome to the foil. Ba-da-bum. This is Danny Cohen coming to you with the Foil Stars with a little post-game action on that New York Islanders game. The Stars lose a heartbreaker and end their win streak, which was at 5 games. The captain, Jamie Benn, returns, and we had a wild ending. What went wrong this game? Well, for one, we had not enough scoring off of the early dominance that we had. Otter played poorly, and we managed to take penalties with the very few man advantages that we had to completely negate that. And then the refs had some iffy calls. We're going to talk about all of that and more. But before we do me a favor, subscribe, comment, like, share, repost this, and help me get the word out. So the game started with cheers for Benn. It was great to see him back and on the ice. Benn ended up rotating between the first and fourth lines, mostly on the fourth. He had about 9 minutes on the game, and I really liked seeing him out there with Rantanen and Wyatt. I hope that we get to see more of that. I thought that he skated really well, honestly. I thought he looked better than he did last season and in the playoffs last year, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe he was fighting some injuries that he hasn't told us about. So we'll look to see if that continues, but good news on that front. Prior to the game, Jamie Benn gets the gate as Ernie and Duchene are placed on long-term IR. Lyubushkin is out day to day. He had missed practice and was a game-time decision. Wyatt Johnston was recalled from the AHL. He is a left-hand defenseman that does play the right side in the AHL, so he's slotted in. We now have 9 Stars that have missed games on the year with injuries. It's starting to kind of look like this year is going to be similar to the last, where we just have this revolving door of injuries that we have to deal with. And at the present time, we're out half of our top 6 defensemen between Harley, Lundkvist, and Lyubushkin. And I was scared of our D pairings going into it, but they ended up playing pretty well. I thought both Capobianco and Colin Blackwell looked way better in Victory Green in Dallas than they did in Cedar Park. So it's kind of interesting how that works out, right? I don't know if it's them rising to the occasion or not having the right teammates. The AHL is a little bit slower kind of play, a little bit more boring down there for sure. And I don't know if it's one or the other, or probably a combination of the two, but they stood out to me much more than that they ever did when I've watched them in the AHL. Not to say that they look bad in the AHL, but they looked much better here tonight. I thought Colin Blackwell played pretty good. There was a couple mistakes that he made, but he looked pretty good. I thought Capobianco was even better. He looks good offensively out there. His skating, his passing. He's got some dynamism in that skill set of his, and maybe he can carve himself out a role as a late bloomer. We'll have to see how that plays out. We went the whole game without taking a penalty, and then we end up taking 2 during each of our only power play opportunities, and then again when we have the empty net at the end of the game with the goalie pulled. So we really shot ourselves in the foot there. Our penalty kill on the bright side of things, they continued their streak now to 15 straight penalty kills and 5 full games. Pretty impressive. The Dallas Stars 8-game power play goal streak ends. Dallas won 65% of the faceoffs on the night. Pretty impressive. I wonder what Jamie Benn's face-off percentage was. Having him back should only help in that regard. The New York Islanders ended up blocking 16 shots versus our 6. Shots on goal was essentially even. Robo continues his blazing comet streak here with another 2 goals on the night. He's got a 3-game goal streak with 7 goals in those 3 games. He's on a 5-game point streak, which leads the team over which that 5 games he's got 7 goals, 4 assists, 11 points. He's now only 2 points behind Mikko, and this guy's probably going to end up getting paid. So Rovo ties Wyatt with 11 goals, both on pace for 45 goals this year. Seguin continues to do great work. He had 2 assists on the night. He's now 4th on the team in goals, behind only Rantanen, Robo, and Wyatt. He's got 7 on the year. Rantanen has a 4-game point and assist streak that he is working on right now. So these guys are earning their money. And with only 9 minutes of ice time, Jamie Benn co-led the team with 4 hits. So pretty good to see what he was able to do out there. Was it a perfect game for him? No. He took an untimely penalty, a little careless with his stick. But for being out for so long, I thought he looked pretty solid out there. Miro had 27-plus minutes on the night and 1 assist. He continues to do fine work. On the players that are a little cold right now, Ritzy hasn't done much lately, and I kind of want to see a little bit more from him, both in terms of his scoring and his grit. Mavrik Bourque has gone back into the disappointing department for me this year after a little slight resurgence. He's on pace for 24 points this year, which is about half what should be the number for him. I think 50 points on the year, especially given the ice time that he was given early on in the year, is fairly doable for him. He's not there. Hopefully that changes. He's not getting any younger. Otter, man, he had a bad one tonight. One really bad goal, one that was questionable in such a tight game like this. You can't have that. What happened to the goalie rotation that we were running quite successfully between him and DeSmith? DeSmith was putting up even better numbers than Otter in those games. So I don't know why they didn't just continue with that. I wish they had. And in the first period, we'll go through how this game played out. There was not a lot going on early. It was kind of a feeling out process, kind of like a boxing match between 2 really good boxers where they're respecting each other's game. And Wyatt made a beautiful pass from his knees to Steele. There's no goal on it. Heiskanen with a bomb of a one-timer. I want to see more of that from him. He usually throws that kind of weak wrister at the net, and that one-timer probably would do him some good. It looked like it had a little mustard on it. And Schaefer, later in this period, absolutely pantses Bichsel. Just yanked those britches down with a behind the backhand between the legs, inside out deke that ended up getting a shot on goal, and Otter made the save. But that just shows that there are levels to this. That's why he was the first overall pick last year in the first round. And as much as you like some of our defensemen, we don't have anybody that can do that, and most teams in the league don't have anybody that can do that. That was, I've never seen, I don't even know if Cale Makar would have been able to pull off that move. That was just incredible. So something for the Isles fans to look forward to for years to come. At this point in the game, the shots are 10-4 Stars, but it doesn't feel like it. We're not getting a whole lot of high danger opportunities. There's a no-look pass and a turnover by Robo. We do that a lot. There was a couple of these on this game. I wish they would take that down a notch. Luckily, that one did not end up in the back of our net. Jamie Benn went for a hit. He got a piece of him, but just missed it and blowing him up. And he would continue to do that throughout the game. Then Jamie Benn with a great scoring chance coming in on the net, in tight, on that Benn, Johnston, Mikko line, looking dangerous. Later on in the period, the shots are 12-4 Dallas, still nothing to show for it, and the Islanders put it on us late to nearly level the shots on goal. So, it's these periods where we dominate like that and we get nothing to show for it, especially at home, where it really, you kind of get this sense of impending doom. And especially because the Stars can't seem to put this season, I know they've been doing better recently, but they can't seem to put back-to-back dominant periods together most of the time. So it's going to come back, and then you're just hoping that it doesn't end up in our net when we're on the receiving end of the dominant play. In the second period, we see a line of Robo, Johnston, and Seguin. I like that line. Those are two really hot players right now between Robo and Seguin, and Johnston's been great all year. I like what that line brings. I'd like to see a little bit more of that mixed in. And 6+ minutes into this period before either team gets a shot on goal, Rantanen crushes Barzal at open ice. Just incredible. Barzal's a fast player. These fast players are hard to really lay a huge hit on that, like that, on them. And Rantanen has been just, whatever way you want to look at his game, from his shot, from his playmaking, from his physical play, from the intensity that he brings, night in, night out, he is just a superstar. So halfway through the first period in the New York Islanders, or the second period rather, the New York Islanders are dominating. And you kind of felt this coming, and boom, there it is. The New York Islanders get Dallas worn out with some sustained pressure on a long shift. Schaefer gets the play going in the neutral zone with his speed, and eventually gets the puck back down low and works it to the point. It goes back down low for Ritchie. There's a give and go play. Lindell is stuck in front of the net, covering the bumper guy for the Islanders when Ritchie gets the puck back in the slot, charging with speed towards the net, rips it past Otter. On that play, Oscar Beck let Ritchie blast past him and get all that open ice there. Ritzy was a spectator on that, doing a lot of puck watching. He was nowhere to be found, covering no one on that. So I didn't really put that one as much on Otter as much as the rest of the players in green. And it was also a pretty good play. You got to hand it to the Islanders on that. So later we get another one of these no-look backhand D-zone passes. On the this time it was Kolyachonok with the clearing attempt along the boards using that patented move that I don't like. And the turnover ends up with a scoring chance on Otter. And at this point, I'm wondering, does Dallas have even one shot on goal this period? We've been just getting railroaded. And then Riddick comes with a nice glove save on Hintz from distance. We would get a goal from Robo a little later. Robo with a stabbing ozone steal along the boards. There's a give and go with Seguin on the 3-on-1, and it beats Riddick 5-hole. Robo's fire is still burning hot. And then Kolyachonok gets a nice poke check to stop the New York Islanders rush a little later. Capobianco says, anything you can do, I can do better. He makes a diving play to break up the home run pass attempt, and then another poke check a few seconds later. Just really good work from him. Romanov tries to hit Faksa, goes flying. He would have an awful game in a number of regards, and we're going to get into all of that. Capobianco with a nice point shot. He's really showing some versatility in what he brings offensively. I like it. So Rantanen with a spazzy turnover that ends up with a scoring chance the other way. It doesn't end up in the back of our net. We still have no penalties in the game through 2 periods. Shots are even. There's a net front scramble in the Dallas end, and we survive to make it to the third period. So in the third period, I see Robo with a nice shoulder check. Every once in a while, he does this. He uses that size, and it really suits him well. So Capobianco catches a guy on the breakaway on the back check. Good speed and a nice poke check from him on that play. And then later, we get a goal from Horvat. Otter misses the puck with the blocker hand to keep a puck from bouncing off the rear wall and in front of the net, where there's some drive-by traffic. Just absolutely strikes out on that attempt to stop that puck. It goes to Horvat in front of the net, who goes tweeners on Otter. He leads their team in scoring. I think he's got 12 on the year now. Bad goal. Then Otter comes back with a nice save on Siplikov after he beats Capobianco on a one-on-one to get a short breakaway. Bichsel makes a good defensive play and then follows it up with a good hit. Bichsel continues to have good games, and then Buck gets high-sticked and is bleeding. There's a double minor on Bo Horvat, and this is our big opportunity in the game to get back into it. It's the first penalty of the game against the New York Islanders, and then we end up giving up a shorthanded goal to make it 3-1. Paul Mary gets this goal. Wyatt tries to go through everyone on the zone entry. Probably tries to do a little too much there. While we're on the power play here, he gets stripped of the puck. There's a 2-on-1 the other way. Hintz had gotten knocked down away from the puck in the O-zone. There's no call and is stuck behind the play while Palmieri goes the other way, shoots cookie jar, and beats Otter high blocker. I thought Otter was too deep in his net on here. I'm not sure if it would have mattered completely if he had been in better position or not, because it was such a good shot, but it's a questionable one, and he's got to come out a little bit more on that to cut the angle. So, and to challenge the player, make him make that pass and have the defense take the responsibility for the pass that he's going to make. So, anyway, Benn takes a high sticking penalty on the rest of this double minor, and it's over. Dallas is now tied after that shorthanded goal for the most shorthanded goals against in the league, with 4 shorthanded goals against us. I'm not sure how much of that has to do with how aggressive we are on our power play, but you want to cut down on a little bit of that. Those shorthanded goals are momentum killers. So we got a 4-on-4 now. All Finns are on the ice for that 4-on-4, and Faksa blasts Zizekas, who gets up slowly on the play. Faksa, game after game, does something to contribute here. He shows his heavy game, and that's what he does. He's like Oscar Beck, but he is able to add that physical element into the game. And he's got a little bit more. I know he hasn't shown it too much this year, except for that 3-assist game, but he's got a little bit more offensive ability than Oscar Beck does as well. So later in that period, Schaefer takes a high stick with 7 minutes left in the game. And we would later tie it, or not tie it, but pull within 1. Robo gets another. Dallas pulls the goalie, and it works around in the O-zone. Seguin gets a shot on the left side at a tight angle, and it goes off the goalie and into the Isles player in front of the net, which was Romanov. So Robo beats Romanov to the puck that lands kind of in his feet and knocks it in the net with a backhand. It ends up going off of the near post, off of Riddick's tricep and in the net. When you're hot, and you get lucky a little bit like that. So it's now 3-2. Later, with about 1:24 left, Riddick makes a save on a one-timer by Robo off of a nice saucer pass from Seguin. Seguin continues to look like he's turned back the clock a little bit here. And then in the closing moments of the game, Moose ends up, it looked like a boarding. If you go back and look at the replay, he was tripped up and was off balance and looked like he went to brace himself from going into the wall himself, kind of a reflexive, putting his hands out, ends up shoving Romanov into the boards. Brutal looking collision with the boards. I kind of tend to think it was something along the lines of a broken collarbone or a dislocated shoulder. He is in a lot of pain. Patrick Waugh, who is kind of a known hothead, is screaming at Rantanen, who is in the off ramp, who has been booted. And if you look back at the replay, he's threatening Rantanen, old school, saying that the next game he's not going to skate off the ice when we play you at home. So something to look for. I think when Patrick Waugh looks at that replay, he'll understand what happened, that it wasn't a malicious play by Mikko Rantanen. Mikko, I haven't looked back to see if he's been suspended or not, but he doesn't strike me as a malicious player like that. Sometimes he'll have a little bit of a temper, but he's not going to go for no reason and board someone face first and into the boards like that. So, well, I'm sure that the league will look at it. We'll get to the bottom of it, but go back frame by frame that, and you tell me what happened. I think you'll see what I see, that he was off balance from the impeding of the Isles player that was behind him on that play. So then, in literally the last fraction of a second in the game, Miro with the point shot, the rebound goes to Wyatt with 0.1 seconds left as Robo's coming through the crease, makes contact with the goalie a little bit, looks like he was bumped into the goalie, and I think it's a goal. It's called back, and they figured that Robo, I guess, could have done more not to interfere with the goalie, and that is the game. An absolute heartbreaker, a roller coaster of emotions, and the Stars get the L. The win streak of 5 is over. I talked about this prior to the game. The Jets, Blackhawks, Mammoth all play on the night. They all pick up points. The Jets with a win, the Blackhawks with a win, the Mammoth with an overtime loss. The Devils end up losing the game as well. All of our divisional chasers catch up with us a little bit. Dallas is now 4th in the league. We maintain our position in our division. And we go west to play with all 3 Western Canadian teams, starting with Vancouver, and then we round out the road trip with Seattle. So we have a lot of hockey to come, and I appreciate all y'all foilists for following along with me. We will be chatting soon.